About 80 to 90% of Pakistan's crops have been damaged by the floods. With tomato prices have increased by 5 times and onions tripling since last month, the inflation rate is now around 27%. It was recorded about 27% in August. So all of this is a major cause of concern. These floods have severely impacted the agriculture sector of Pakistan, which contributes about 23% of our GDP, and 40% of our labor force directly or indirectly is associated with the agriculture sector. So now these recent floods are going to create a severe food crisis for Pakistan in the coming days. According to the United Nations, almost 800,000 farm animals have perished, and about 2 million acres of crops and orchards have been hit. It is also being estimated that roughly about 65% of the country's food basket, particularly crops like rice, cotton, wheat, and onions, they have been washed away. Mango trees have been affected by these floods. In parts of Sindh, chili, sugarcane, and date trees have been destroyed. Rice, which is grown in most part of the Sindh, and Sindh alone contributes for over 50% of our rice exports, that has been affected as well. So almost about 80% of Sindh province is underwater, and 2 districts of southern Punjab, DG Khan and Rajanpur, have been severely impacted, and so have been large portions of the Balochistan province as well. So as you know that in the next month, that's going to, the wheat plantation season is going to start, especially in the Sindh, because they start the plantation of wheat or the cultivation of wheat 1 month before the start of Punjab. So they're like 1 month ahead in that. And now this is going to be a huge problem concerning that a large portion of the province is still underwater. The fields are, as I just mentioned, they're submerged in water in most parts of Sindh, where the water is as deep as about 15 feet. So it's nearly impossible to plant wheat crop in these conditions. And Sindh contributes for almost 30 to 40% of our total wheat production. And the severe heat waves that occurred, and also the untimely rainfalls that occurred in the early part of this year have already severely impacted our wheat produce. And now that these floods have completely washed away all these crops, I think we are going to face severe food crisis. We're in for a very severe food crisis. And considering that about 40% of our population already faces chronic food insecurity, and we are ranked about 92 out of 116 countries on the global hunger index. Even before the floods have actually hit us, the country was already going through a severe wheat shortage of about 2.6 million tons. Pakistan's total wheat demand is roughly about 30.8 million tons, and to meet this domestic demand, we have to import wheat. So about 39% of Pakistan's wheat imports come from Ukraine, which is the 5th largest global exporter of wheat. And the Russian blockades around the Black Sea have disrupted the global supply chains, and this impacted the grain prices in the international market as well, with wheat flour prices increasing more than about 60% since the war started. So exports have, though they have recently resumed after being frozen for months, but this will, although this will lessen the risk of global food crisis, but the climate change, it still continues to threaten Pakistan's food security, and it will in the next few years, unless and until Pakistan takes rapid adaptive measures. In 2018, Pakistan introduced its first ever national food security policy, which its aim was to increase food availability, accessibility, and sustainability. And some of its main goals were to alleviate poverty, hunger, and malnutrition, to promote sustainable food production systems and make the agriculture sector more productive, profitable, climate resilient, and competitive, and to discourage exploitation of the farmers. So while Pakistan, it has adopted a comprehensive policy framework to address these climate change and food insecurity at the national level, many policies suffer implementation gaps due to lack of funding at the provincial level as well. And then considering the current situation, there's a substantial need for transformation in Pakistan's climate change adaptation policies and food system.